Yes, Spring, definition of Spring. See, what is the definition of Spring? Yeah, it is an open source, lightweight, loosely coupled, dependency injection based framework. Dependency injection based framework. What is the meaning of dependency injection? Actually, this is not right time to discuss about this definition now. Yeah. Uh, Before going to discuss about definition, I want to discuss where we are using Spring first. Then we'll see what the definition and what is the open source lightweight. Okay. Now, where we are using Spring framework. If you want to design any web application or any application, enterprise application or web application, we have to design some logics, right? Logics means we have to design uh, presentation logic. Everyone knows about this one. Working people. Okay. Then validations. Now I'm not discussing about India trade highlight high level. Okay. Business logic. Then request processing logic. Okay. And finally persistence logic. Presentation logic too. Yeah. Amarshi, do you have any question? Hello. Okay. Please be unmute, Amarshi. I'm getting a lot of disturbance. I'm recording, right? Okay. If you have any question, immediately please put some unmute. Like you can talk with me. Okay. While listening, better to put on mute. Why? Because I'm recording this session. Okay, you will get a lot of disturbance. Okay. Thanks. Yes. Presentation logic.
Presentation logic is the view
Yeah.
part, right?
Yeah. Viewport. Viewport. Okay. That's true. Very simple presentation logic. I want to display some information to the user. That is called presentation logic by using HTML, JSP, okay, yeah, Wicket, AngularJS, some different types of technology we are using presentation logic. We are not using Spring there. Again, validations. Once you design presentation logic, you have to provide validations, right? Yes or no? Without validation, there is no application. If you take any login application, can you send the request without entering username and password? No, you should enter username and password. Okay, we have date of birth. Can I enter date of birth is January 1st, 2020? No, we have to validate it, right? But how to write the logic is different story. By using JavaScript to either the client-side validations, backend validations, we can work with validations. Okay, business logic. Main application logic is called business logic. Based on the end user entered data, we are performing some operations on backend. That is called business logic. Request processing logic. How to process the request? That is nothing but request processing logic, right? How to take the request, how to dispatch the request to the model component. Model component may connect the database. Once we get the data from the database, it performs some operations on model component. That response is that data is given to the controller layer or request processing logic. Request processing logic will identify okay which page we have to show to the user to display the data. Yes, so this is called request processing logic. Persistence. What is the meaning of persistence? Persistence means permanent storage area, right? Persistent storage area, permanent storage area. The logic which is used to connect with the permanent storage area, nothing but database, is called persistence logic. High level, just I'm not discussing about it. These are technical terms for the persistence. Okay, what is the technology we are using to design persistence logic? Yeah, what is the all these logics, Ayesha? Presentation logic, just view part. Okay, validation, checking the correctness of end user entered data is called validation. Business logic, main application logic is called business logic. Like based on end user entered data, we are performing some backend, right? Some operations on backend. Okay. If it is login application, we are checking username and password valid or not. He entered a correct username and password. If username dot equals of something, password dot equals of something, return okay one page. Otherwise, okay display error page or failure page. Request processing, processing the request, getting request from the backend, sending that UI, sending that same request to backend, again getting response from the backend, sending that response back to users. Request processing logic, persistence logic, database code. To connect the database, we have to write some logic, right? That logic is called the persistence logic. By using JDBC, Hibernate, JPA, Spring DAO, Spring ORM, Spring with Hibernate, Spring with JPA, Spring with JDO, Spring with Hibernate, it's like a number of technologies we have to design persistence logic. But popular one is Spring with Hibernate, or only Hibernate, or JPA, or Spring DAO, not JDBC. Okay, now this is different types of logics. If you see this one in diagrammatical format, my concentration is where we are using Spring. Okay, okay. If you take real world application, we have different types of layers. Assume that this is a database. Everyone knows database is mandatory nowadays. Even classroom applications also, to maintain object data permanently, we are using database. Assume that this is okay, simple database. So to connect database, generally, what is the layer we are designing? If people know what is the layer, I'm expecting some answers from you people.
Persistence layer.
Yeah, persistence layer. That is nothing but dev layer, right? We are calling DAO layer or persistence layer. So, minute, I'm changing this font size. Yeah, DAO layer or persistence layer. People are calling DAO or persistence layer, but maximum people are calling dev layer, DAO. But what are the technologies we have to design DAO layer? Hmm. Advanced Java JDBC. That is one technology to connect database. But nowadays people are not using JDBC. Working with the JDBC is really difficult. If you compare with Hibernate, if you compare with Spring DAO, Spring ORM, yeah. But if you know JDBC, understanding Hibernate concepts, understanding Spring concepts are nothing. Next, not only JDBC, we have powerful ORM that is called Hibernate, JPA. Push the any doubt? Hibernate, JPA.
No, I'm fine.
IBAT is Toppling, JDO. Okay. Now Spring DAO. Then 1 minute. Okay, Spring DAO, uh, Spring ORM, etc. These number of technologies we have. But I'm not giving all the technologies. These are the technologies we are using to connect DAO. Okay. Actually, one student is pinging me. 1 minute. Okay. Now this is DAO layer or persistence layer. Next, You know, generally to place business logic, we are writing one layer, right? What is the layer? Business layer, right? But technically we are not calling business layer. We are calling. I'm expecting one answer. I think maximum people are working, right? Hmm.
Is that processor?
No, service layer. You heard about service layer? Hmm? Yeah, that is a service layer. That business layer, technically we are calling service layer. Okay. So your service layer nothing but business layer. What it contains this layer? Okay, this layer. Okay, just it contains business logic, or sometimes if you want to connect any uh, third party application or other application through web services through JMS, we are writing that logic here only. Okay, so to design business layer, old and yeah, still some people are using normal Java class. That is called a bean class. Okay, normal Java class. You can write okay public class employee service or employee service IMPL. Now write the logic inside that IMPL like a get employee, update employee. Okay, some delete employee, some simple methods. That is Java class. Now Java bean class or Java class. Now okay, not only this one. Olden days we used EJB session bean easy session mean to design business component. But again, in to design persistence layer, we have one small component called EJB entity bin. Okay, go to here EJB entity bin. Yeah, EJB entity bin. What is the use of entity bin? To connect again database only. EJB session bin. Okay, then Spring JEE one module in Spring or context JEE or context world frame world applications. Okay, we have world module, we have context only, that is spring 2 JE, but that is okay, divided into n number of modules in spring 3 or spring 4. Okay, that is spring JMS. Yeah, spring. Okay, OXM. If it is scheduling related thing, yeah, like etc, n number of modules in spring. This entire part we are calling as model. Okay, got it what I'm saying here? The center part is called model. Now we have one more layer called service controller layer. Yes, controller layer. Now this is called view layer. This entire part some people are calling presentation tier. This part, entire part is called presentation tier. Okay, to design view, we are using HTML, JSP. Okay, so etc. Angular JS. Okay, then JavaScript, jQuery, simple, okay, technologies we are using. But for the this is called view. This is called view. Now controller, just we are using servlets or filters only. This is called request processing logic. Request processing logic. This is called presentation logic, right? Presentation logic. This is nothing but controller. Now, why I'm discussing all these points means my intention is where we are using Spring. I want to discuss that point. That's the reason I'm discussing. Maximum people knows about this one, but still I'm discussing. Yes, to design these two components like view and controller, we have frameworks called struts. What are these of struts? No, to design web application, we are using struts, but already in struts we have one controller called action servlet. To design the view component, we are using JSP. That means the combination of these two is called struts, right? Yes or no? Working people. Okay. Then we have JSF. We can use JSF. Yes, Java server faces. Now we can use Wicket. Wicket. It's not cricket wicket. Apache Wicket. Pop. That is again UI framework. Wicket. Okay. Then uh, we can use like struts to web work, X work, web work framework. Now one module in Spring. Spring MVC. Spring MVC. So this is called a presentation tier. Nothing but here, according to my terminology, is presentation tier, view and controller in nothing but presentation tier. Yeah, to design presentation layer or presentation tier, we have the number of frameworks. But Spring provide one powerful module that is called Spring MVC. Spring MVC just okay. Spring MVC. This is Spring MVC. Now this is used to design presentation layer. You got it right? Now where we are using Spring? Any layer of the application. To design this layer we are using Spring. To design this layer we are using Spring. To design this layer we are using Spring. DAO layer we have the Spring framework. Service layer we have the Spring framework. Then view layer we have the Spring. That means the presentation layer we have the Spring framework. Okay. So any layer of application we can design by using Spring. That's why nowadays popular framework is Spring. Not only this one, layer integration. What is the meaning of layer integration? Simple. I have DAO layer and I have service layer. Hmm? I have DAO layer and I have service layer. What is the DAO layer here? Employee, employee DAO. This is one class. Employee DAO class. It is not valid. Okay, syntax, but just high level I wrote. Okay. Then employee service. We are writing this type of class only, right? Employee DAO, employee service, service class, DAO class. Now, if I want to use DAO object in service layer, what is your code? Hmm? Create DAO object, right? If you're not following, let me know. Okay. Employee DAO equal to new employee DAO, new employee DAO. Now, DAO dot methods in call methods in DAO. Okay, DAO dot something, right? DAO dot something. Now, if you want to integrate one layer into another layer, if you want to use one layer into another layer, DAO into service, this service class into controller or view, this presentation tier, create this class object and okay, call the methods defined in this class object. Otherwise, not possible calling those methods. 1 minute, man. I'm getting call from office. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay. Yes, this is uh, yeah, any layer we can use it, right? Now, if you see this code, layer integration, we are using normal creating DAO class object and call the method in DAO. But Spring, if you use the Spring, if you want to integrate this layer with this layer, we have powerful module called Spring Core. Where we are using Spring Core, if you want to inject one layer into another layer, like a DAO class object into a service object into view. If you want to inject any dependent object into one class, we are using Spring Core. In Spring Core, we are learning only injection. We are injecting Spring DAO class object into service class object into view. Injecting means setting the data. Okay. So I think you got clear picture, right? Where we are in Spring Framework. Now, Spring Core. Now, sometimes I want to call uh, other application. I want to send one message to other application through JMS. That message in the form of XML. I want to convert our Java class object into XML, employee object into XML. We can convert using OXM. I want to post that message into JMS queue and connection factor queue. If you want to post a message in the queue, we can use Spring JMS. See, any layer we can design it. We can design one large scale application by using only Spring. Front end means Spring MVC with AngularJS. Nowadays, again, popular combination front end Spring MVC with AngularJS. Right? Yes, that's true. Spring MVC with AngularJS is the popular combination. Next, again, now Spring Core, that is UI and Spring Core layer integration. DAO or ORM, you can use it to connect with the database. Hmm? In DAO layer, service layer, you can use any model, depends on your requirement. We have one more model called AOP. AOP, aspect oriented programming. We can use AOP in where either this layer, this layer for logging. If you want to, log4j, right? Log4j. Instead of using system.out.println, we are using log4j in real world. I think working people knows about log4j. Without log4j, we can't work with any projects. Logging is mandatory. Yes, to use that log4j, to print log4j, we are using AOP. Where we are using log4j, we can use log4j in where the service layer, DAO layer, logger.info, logger.warning, logger.debug, logger.error. Yes or no? For that, instead of using that logging, we can use AOP. Transactions, we can use AOP. Security related thing, we can use AOP. If you want to apply any feature in the application, we can get that feature using Spring. That is the power of Spring. That's why Spring is not like simple module. Spring simple framework, not like struts. We can tell alternate for all the frameworks, alternate for Java JTE. But without Java JTE, there is no Spring. For example, Spring with Spring ORM. Spring ORM is not a ORM. Spring ORM has the capability to connect other ORM. That means if you want to work with Spring ORM, one ORM technology is required. One Hibernate or JPA is required. Without Hibernate, without JPA, we can't work with Spring. Spring ORM. Like we can tell it is integration part. So yeah, where we are using Spring here, any layer. Generally, we are calling this one as layered architecture. Layered architecture. Now, I introduced n number of layers like view layer, presentation layer, controller layer, service layer, DAO layer. This is database. To connect database, driver class, URL, username, passwords are required. Those properties we are loading through property file using Spring. Again, loading properties also through Spring. Yeah, we'll see in coming session how to do that one. So by seeing this diagram, we can tell any layer of the application we can design by using Spring. Do you have any questions in this area? Yeah, I will save this diagram. I will share with you. Oh no, where I saved. So it's in pictures. That's fine. No issue. Okay. Any questions? So same points are highlighted in the material. If you see this material, yesterday I told you, right, power of excellent material I prepared for students actually. Okay, in my Amir paid sessions, I didn't share this soft copy, but online, okay, now there is no chance to give hard copy, right? Sending hard copy not possible for UK to US, okay, different locations. That's why I'm sharing this, okay, soft copy only. Yeah, request processing logic, business logic, I clearly explained. uh, Business layer and the persist layer is also called, okay, model layer. Persistence layer, to design persistence layer we have JDBC, Hibernate, JPA, JDO, Spring DAO, Spring ORM. Number of layered architecture, just now I discussed layered architecture. Then presentation layer, these are the technologies. Business tier, these are the technologies. Persistence tier, okay, JDBC, JPA, EJB2, EJB3, Hibernate, IBT, Toppling, JDO, okay. So Spring is used to develop any layer of the application. I covered it, right? Next, to get the DAO object in service layer, we'll go for Spring Core. To get the DAO object in service layer, to get DAO object in service layer, we are using Spring Core. I highlighted. To get service object in view layer or controller layer, we are using again Spring. To get service layer object into presentation layer, we'll go for Spring Core. But Spring Core used in all other modules. Spring Core is a basic module. Can I learn advanced Java without core Java? Huh? Directly servlets, JSP without core Java knowledge, oops concepts, exceptions, collections, not possible, right? Same. Without learning Spring Core, we can't learn other modules. That's why I spend a lot of time on Spring Core. Nearly 15 to 17 days. We'll spend some time on the Spring Core. If you're strong in Spring Core, learning any module is nothing. Okay, that's it. Now I think you got a clear picture where we are using Spring. Any layer of the application we are to design any layer of the application we are using Spring, but we are not deciding. Use Spring MVC to design view layer, or use Spring DAO to design DAO layer, right? That is the architect will decide it. As a developer, we don't have rights to decide the technology. Okay, for example, once you got the job in one company, okay, they asked me, they asked you to work on IBTs on backend. But if you tell like I don't know IBTs, okay, can I use JDBC or can I use Spring DAO? Can I use Spring ORM to design DAO layer? They will give you left and right, right? Okay, we decided technology. Yeah, we should use uh, IBTs only to design the DAO layer. If you don't know, learn and you can implement it. I learned only Hibernate online. Can I use Hibernate? No, right? They decide the technology how to use it. But architects, some okay, our leads, okay, managers, they are deciding Spring in maximum places. Okay, nowadays at least layer integration we are using Spring. Man. We are not using any new keyword to create the object. Okay, if you want to get DAO object in service layer, we are not using new keyword. Generally, to get any object, we are using Spring new keyword, right? Student DAO, DAO equal to new student DAO. Employee DAO, DAO equal to new employee DAO. Employee service equal to new employee service. But really, there is no new keyword if you Spring. That is called injection. Within few minutes, I will discuss about injection. Within few minutes, what is the meaning of injection? Okay, Spring talks about only injection, man, dependency injection. That's why dependency injection based framework is called Spring. Yes, dependency injection based framework is called Spring. What is the meaning of dependency injection? If you know dependency injection, understanding definition of Spring is nothing. Now, dependency injection, right? Give me 1 minute. Okay, I want to open IDE. Yeah, Spring is an open source. Open source means like really simple. Free source and open source. What is the difference? Maximum Java J2E frameworks are technologies. Frameworks are open source software. Free source. Okay, simple. As per my understanding, I'm explaining free source. I have Google Chrome, right? By default, this Google Chrome is not available in operating system. Yes or no? If you install Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, you never get Google Chrome, right? You will get only IE. But explicitly, I downloaded from internet. I installed it. Yes or no? By default, not available. Okay. Once you uh, install, you can use it, right? But to install Google Chrome, are you paying any money to Google people? Hmm? No, we are not paying any money. It's free source, free. But I want to see source code of Google Chrome. Hmm? How Google people designed um, this Google Chrome. Based on that one, okay, I want to write my own browser, design like a Ramesh Chrome or something. Is it possible? Hmm? Not possible, right? They are not highlighting any source code, just utilization only free. But if you go for Spring, not only dot class files, they are providing source code also. Yeah, if you want, you can see source code of core Java, advanced Java, Servlets, Spring, any framework uh, we can see the source code. That is possible only in frameworks and Java J2E. Okay, so blindly remember open source means you will get the source code. Just give me few minutes. Okay, so I'm creating one simple project, Java project. Okay, instead of showing that one here, take some time to attach the source code. Already last batch I'm discussing AOP. Okay, now I have Bean Factory. By default, source code is not available. Attach the source code. Attach file. Okay, so here src beans 3.5. See source code, right? But this type of source code we never see in Google Chrome, WinZip, WinRAR, something software. Yeah, who designed this? This is one container in Spring that is called Bean Factory. Okay, so designed by Rod Johnson. I think maximum class and interface are designed by Rod Johnson only. Yeah, Rod Johnson. Okay, uh, that's it. Now dependency injection. Now this is the time to discuss about dependency injection. You got open source, right? I have two classes. What are the classes? Take employee. Employee class, address class. Is it visible? Uh, 1 minute. I am changing font size. Yeah, somewhat difficult. I know. Okay. Now okay, right? Still not visible. I can't do anything. Okay. Yeah. I have address. If I want to use address object in DAO, sorry, employee, how to use it? I'm defining an address. Address. So to set the address object, I'm using setter method. Set address. Okay. To get the address object, you're using get address. In somewhere, test client, something one my main method, test class. In the test class, I'm using main method. In this main method, I'm creating address object. Address equal to new address. Then employee equal to new employee. If you want to set address object into employee dot set address of address. Now, yes, see what I did here. I created address object. I created employee object. I setting address object into employee object using manually, right? Who creates address object? JVM will create address object, but who wrote the logic to create address object? Myself. I wrote the logic using new keyword, new constructor, right? Yes or no? I created two different objects. I'm injecting address object into employee. Now here I'm not using any string, just normal uh, code only, advanced Java code. Sorry, core Java code. Now dependency injection. Do you have any questions in this part? I think no. Yes. Here employee has address, right? First, if you want to understand dependency injection, first divide that. Yeah, wait. Elaborate means where, Ayesha, where you are not following. Yeah, please concentrate. Dependency injection. If you want to understand dependency injection, first divide these two terms into different, okay, separately. Dependency. First, what is the meaning of dependency? Has a relation is called dependency. Has a relation. What is the meaning of has a relation? One object may depends on another object. Employee has address. Employee has address, right? Service class has address class. Student has address. Team has a number of players. A team has set of players or list of players. Okay. Customer have a number of products. Like different types of uh, objects that is which has as a relation. Just simple example. This is as a relationship. Employee has address. That's it. Has a relationship is called dependency. I think you don't have any question there, right? Injection. Injection means? Huh? What is the meaning of injection? General meaning. If you go to hospital, you have some injection term, right? Huh? Injecting liquid into body is called injection. Like setting. Yeah, setting dynamically. That's true. Setting something is called injection. Now, if we have employee, if we have address, I wanted to set address object into employee object is called injection. I'm injecting address object. I'm injecting address object into employee is called injection. But how we are injecting? How we are setting the data? using setter method or constructor. But here I am using setter method. If you want, you can use constructor also. No need to use always setter method. You can use constructor also. So by using setter or by using constructor, we are setting data into one object into another object. That is called injection. I think you got it. But how we are injecting now? See, I created manually two separate objects. I am injecting address object into employee object using setter method. Now this is dependency injection. But who performed dependency injection? Ramesh performed, myself write the logic. I wrote the logic to create object. Separate employee object, separate address object is setting into employee object. And okay, by using setter method. In the place of this code, same in the place of this code, I am asking, hey Spring container, please give me, employee object. Please give me employee object. Now, if we ask Spring container for employee object, Spring will check. Employee depends on any other class object. Yes, it depends on address. It creates separate employee object, separate address object, and address object is setting into employee object. That employee object is given to you people. Now, finally, you will get employee object E. This employee object contains address object. Who creates address object? Spring. Who creates employee object? Spring. Who set the address object into some employee object? Spring. That is nothing but inversion of controller dependency injection. There is no new keyword to create the object while dealing with Spring.
Ramesh, one question.
1 minute. Yeah, I will give the time to question after to ask the question.
Okay.
Please give minutes, some time. Okay, few minutes. Now, once you got the employee object, we can use that employee object. But if we ask container, hey, give me employee object, Spring will check. It depends on any other class object. Yes, it depends. It create employee separate object, address separate object. Address may depends on another class object. Again, it creates another class object. That object is created by the container that is injected into address. Address is injected into employee. Finally, we'll get address employee object. From the employee, we can use, okay, we can get the data from employee, or we can call the methods defined in employee. This is nothing but injection. Dependency injection. Dependent objects are created by the container and injected into another object or main object. Dependent object is called target object is called dependency injection. Simple example: if you want to connect the database from the DAO layer, which object is required? Connection. Can we connect the database without connection object? No, we can't. Connection should be required. That connection object is a dependent object for where? DAO. In the DAO, I am injecting connection. When I ask, hey container, please give me DAO object, you know what Spring container will do? Spring container create the connection object and given to and injected into DAO. That DAO object you will get it. Your responsibility is once DAO object is given to you people, just call the method in the DAO. Spring will take care about how to create the connection object internally. But based on your properties, driver class, URL, if you provide proper details to the Spring, hey Spring, this is my driver class, URL, username and password, Spring will create the connection object and injected it to where? DAO. And again, DAO object is injected into service layer. Yes, Spring will take care. That's why I told you right in diagram, okay, layer integration here is Spring, nothing but injecting this DAO object into service object into view layer. We are using Spring core, nothing but dependency injection. We're talking about dependency injection only. What is the definition of Spring? It's Spring framework. Okay, dependency injection based framework is called Spring. It is an open source, lightweight dependency injection based framework is called Spring. I think you got it right. Dependency injection. Yeah, Nikita, Ayesha, doubt.
Yeah, so Spring internally uses new keyword to create an object,
Yes,
or how does
yes,
it?
yes, yes. Not like that. Yeah, we'll see how it creates internally. Okay, uh, but ultimately it uses constructor. We have a default constructor, right? That constructor
Yeah.
will execute.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I will show it.
So it.
Internal thing also I will show it. But this is
Okay.
not
So
right
the
time to discuss about that one. Okay. But
okay.
your question, the answer is yes. We'll use the new constructor only.
Okay. So the Spring container creates the object and it will inject whenever it is required in the application.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Not whenever it requires. Yeah, we have some procedure when it will inject. We'll
Okay.
see later about that one, Nikita.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Thanks.
First, think about high level. This okay, dependence injection. Yeah, both are same. Another name for dependence injection is called diversity. But ultimately, injecting objects is called dependency injection. You got it, this definition? If you understand this definition, really, understanding applications are nothing. A lot of people are suffering to understand Spring, but really nothing. Hmm? This is called dependency.
Uh,
Yeah,
Ramesh Amash here.
yeah, Mercy.
So, like you told, dependency users has a relationship, right?
Yes,
So, in case if I use inheritance, will it still work?
yeah, it will
Because
work.
inheritance is a
It will
relationship.
work. It will work.
Okay, okay.
But even it is easy relation, that object is somewhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is again it comes under has a. Okay, I have only one
Oh,
class, employee. I don't have address class. Spring create uh, uh, address class, sorry, employee class without address. Yes, possible. It will create it. That class extends from
no,
another class. Still, it will create.
why? No, the reason I ask is because if I go for inheritance, so at the time of compilation, this relation is maintained. If I go for composition, relation maintained at runtime. So
Yeah.
this is depends since at runtime it works.
Yes.
So
See, in
only is compile time.
main injection where we are seeing the setting data, Amarshi, only
At
has a
runtime.
relationship, right? Has, yeah, and has a relationship only.
Yes.
Is a relationship. What is the meaning of is a relationship? Extending class properties of one class to another class is called is a relationship. But
Yes.
for example, class B extends class A. We can see class B object by the container. But class B
Okay.
depends on class C. Has A. It creates A object. B is separate object. C is separate object. C is injected into B class object.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yes.
That is called dependency injection. Yes. Any questions?
I have a quick question. Like, even if we have dependencies and all, we can still use this Spring, but you'd like to say in order to not link object to object, we are going for Spring. Am I right?
Yes. But
Without using new keywords,
yeah.
creating objects
Yes.
unnecessarily, you want to go for a Spring.
Yes.
Okay, it's
And what is the
clear.
advantage? Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of advantages. See, if you use new keyword, always it creates a new object, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
But if you go for Spring, all bin objects is maintained as singleton. One object injected into, okay, yeah, DU object created only once injected into service layer.
So the singleton pattern is the default
Yeah,
pattern for
yes,
Spring.
yes. No need to write singleton Java class. Even if you don't know
Okay.
how to write singleton Java class, no issue because Spring will take care. There is no factor method, there is no
Okay.
private constructor, no issue. Spring will maintain all bin objects are singleton. But by default, all beans are singleton. Sometimes I don't want to say singleton. I want to tell to container, hey container, don't maintain singleton object. Please create multiple objects. Still possible. We have to change the behavior. But how to do the change, we'll see later.
So
By
you'll
default,
define the beans.
yeah, while defining bean itself, we can tell, please create this bean class object for each and our request. Don't maintain singleton. It's small
Okay.
change.
Will auto wiring do the same, like without using new, we go for auto wire,
But
right?
internally, auto wiring, what is the meaning of auto wiring? Automatically injected. That is also uses injection only, but not configuration. Auto wiring, nothing but injection only. Again, auto
Okay.
wiring is called injection, but there is no explicit coding for auto wiring, like configurations.
Okay.
Okay, but ultimately, auto wire is also injection. But auto wiring, explicit wiring is called injection. Auto wiring means, okay, no need to write the code to perform injection. Automatically Spring will take care. How automatically Spring will take care means, again, you have to follow some standards. Otherwise, it won't perform automatically.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Yeah, Nikita, we have scopes also. Okay, prototype and singleton. Yeah, we'll see. Just now we discussed about this singleton, right? One multiple objects, one object, that comes under scope only. Auto wiring is a very, very important concept in interview. Okay. Any question?
So one question is that we don't need to use any factory method or anything in this case, right?
Yes,
When we are using when
yes,
we are using Spring, yeah.
yes. But still, I have factor. Already, I designed. Okay, for example, calendar class, calendar. How do you get the calendar object? Are you using calendar? Calendar equal to new calendar? You have to tell the answer.
No,
Calendar dot get instance.
correct.
Get instance is a factor method. But still, some existing API they use factor methods. I want to get that object using factor method. Still possible in Spring. Yes, without factor method, we will get the object, but still some classes having factor method, we can get those objects using factor method. We can configure the factor method inside the Spring. That is also possible. Got it what I'm saying, Amarshi? Sir, Amarshi, Beju. Okay. Yeah, wait some time. What are the questions you ask, right? All are some concepts in my syllabus. If you see, you ask the factor method, right? Okay. If you see this Spring, 1 minute. Okay. So, you talk about scopes, right? Like a singleton prototype. You can see somewhere scopes. Yeah, but I'm not mentioning scopes here, but still we have scope. Yeah, bean scopes. Okay. You ask, right, factor methods configuration. Again, we have factor methods configuration. Auto-wire, right? Auto-wire, push the auto-wire. Again, annotations I will go called auto-wire. What are the questions you ask? All these things you will cover in coming session. Okay. Yes, any questions? Hello?